Hey everybody, it's Ian King from King Sports International, and as you know, over the last few decades I've introduced a number of innovative exercises to the world that have helped change the way the world trains, and today I'd like to share with you one of my latest innovations. This is somewhat of a breakthrough in exercises, and I believe that everybody, especially in the personal training industry, will rush to adopt this exercise, particularly those who may be struggling with their client base, not getting enough clients. This could really change the way the demand for your services. So let's get into it. Obviously, first of all, we need to have some sort of warm up, and what I've got to do here is a tissue manipulation device. And John, what we're going to do is we're going to go one step further. So any body part you want, it doesn't have to be relevant, but which body part are you going to work with?
Hamstrings.
Okay, so just show me how you do it. But what you need to do, John, you need to stand on one leg. So it's not done before. It's very innovative. And it really will change the impact. Yeah, John, that's enough. You've probably gone too far, actually. So we'll put that aside for now. We've warmed up. Now, first of all, it's very important that John is standing. It's just not acceptable that you did an exercise lying down or kneeling. It has to be standing, otherwise it's not functional. So, John, in addition to being a closed-chain kinetic exercise, which is paramount, I need you standing on an unstable surface. So what I'm going to have to do is put any leg you want on an unstable surface. Excellent. Now, what you'll see here is we've got two unstable surfaces. So we're not just using one medium, we're using two modalities, which gives you twice the training effect. So John, I'm just hopefully we haven't jumped up too quickly, because what we need to add is a band. Now, if you do an exercise without a band, there's a question mark about your professional integrity or whether or not you're cutting edge enough. So it's important that every exercise you have some sort of equipment. Well, I've got friends who own equipment companies, and they just want to ensure that you use some equipment, because at the end of the day, it's not cutting edge to do an exercise just to say your body weight. It's no longer acceptable. That was like pre-2000. We're in the new millennium. We need to have a band on every exercise. Okay, what's next? So I've got to take a step back. Now, you may have been aware, it's fairly new, but I'd like to think I'm bringing this to the marketplace. We'll be cutting off the blood supply to his working muscle. Now, John, any muscle, I used to use this for different muscle, but which muscle do you want to use? This one here. Okay, excellent. So it doesn't really matter whether it's a working muscle or not, as long as you've got the equipment in place. So how's that, John? We've cut off a bit of muscle here. Okay, excellent. We're making progress. Now, what we need to do is, now, it's not good enough just to have a band. You've got to have two types of bands. So what we're going to do is, we're going to put this across here, because what it does is it applies forces in the frontal plane. And as you'll see as we go along, planar diversity is critical. Any exercise done in a single plane is unacceptable. Again, that's something that we would have done pre-2000. And as we move into the future, I'll probably invent new planes. But at the moment, we'll just work in at least 2 or 3 planes, depending on what I think at the time. So how are we going? We're doing good. Now, John, we're going to use tubing. Now, this is different than the bands. We've got 2 types of bands, but we've also got tubing. Now, the fact that the resistance curve provided by tubing is non-specific to the force curve used by the joint, provided that it's non-specific and actually creates irrelevant adaptation, is irrelevant. The critical thing is that you have it in place. This is critical, and I don't want to see any exercise done without a tubing. Now, John, at risk of dating myself, we do need to use a kettlebell. Now, my concern with the kettlebell has been around for 10 or 15 years, and so I don't know how many more years it's got left in the trend. But we're going to include it, and I'll make up for this sort of old world attitude shortly. So, John, I need you to listen. It's got to be in one hand only. It's got to be a unilateral exercise, because if a person or an athlete uses 2 hands or 2 legs, it's not functional enough. So to optimise the functionality of the exercise, we need to ensure that there's a unilateral component. It is absolutely critical. So how are we travelling, John? You've got the tube in place. Now, we're not quite finished, but we're nearly there. So, to do an exercise without a chain, again, would demonstrate a lack of awareness. So, it's irrelevant whether it's relevant or not. So, how are we going to, did we decide how we're going to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got the chain in place. So as you all know, chain varies the resistance in a way that overcomes the limitations of the human force curve. Now, it's just critical that you have a chain in place. I don't really know much else about it, but that'll do. Now, this is quite a unique one because the medicine ball, or whatever you want to call it, has been around for a long, long time. So it's a bit of a retro, and I feel a little bit embarrassed about it, but I am confident by the fact that it is evident in the marketplace. And what you do is you'll be throwing this on the ground because medicine ball slams, and even though it's an old ball implement, it is absolutely critical. Now, we'll work to that when we get to it. So what you're about to see demonstrated, and this is another really important point. Actually, I haven't finished. Yeah, I'd like to use it, but I'm not sure. Anyway, no, I'll add that towards the end. So what we do, we'll just do the base movement. We're just going to do the base movement first, and then we're going to add the variables later. So what you're about to see is at least 2 exercises done at the same time. You see, there was a time in the past, you know, like really old world stuff where a person would just do 1 exercise, but that's not good enough anymore. So it's critical that you do at least 2 exercises, and I'm sure in the future maybe 3. And in fact, I probably need to come up with a 3rd in the same sequence. So John, we will be doing 2 exercises. And now in addition to that, I want to stress this point. You'll note that the exercises will be multi-planar. It's just not good enough if you don't use at least 2 planes. And again, we'll probably move you into 3 or 4 planes. And if the man from Tesla doesn't invent it, I'll probably come up with it. So, John, you ready to go? Mm-hmm. So I just want a demonstration rep. I don't want to go too far into it. I don't want to create too much. We'll talk about reps and sets in a minute. So if you could just demonstrate the movement for our listeners, our viewers. That's it. So he's gone down, and you can see the rotational component. He's unilateral. He's done an extension. It's obviously a hip extension. Now this is critical. This is the 2nd exercise. The fact that the resistance is really irrelevant doesn't matter. And punching is really important because in the fear-based world that we live in, if you throw a punch in there with equipment, it really attracts, especially the female component. And this is critical. And you'll note the posture he's obtained. He's complied with the expectation that once you've got a kettlebell, you get into this shape. Now, it'll destroy your posture completely, but don't worry about that. So John, just one more rep for us, please. Just one more rep for the audience. Have you done it? Excellent. And don't worry about the fact that it's an incredibly skill-based activity. It's really good for an athlete. That's it. Now, we've got the basic movement down pat. Now, can you just take a break, John? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk about sets and reps if I could, because we need to talk about loading protocol. Now, I've got 2 paths for you, and it's important that I give you option A and option B. The first option is 3 sets of 10. Now, despite the fact that that's something that DeLorme did in about the 50s or 60s, it's about nearly a century old or half a century old, and we've gone along from that. It's really important that I stay with 3 sets of 10 because everyone else in the industry is still staying with 3 sets of 10. And the fact that I've added, I love that posture, the fact that I've added new equipment to it overlooks the fact that I'm still using that old world simplicity of 3 sets of 10. Now, this is beautiful. Now, I've got a second option for those who want to be a little bit more risque, a bit new age, and that's 5 sets of 3. Now, the fact that reps of 3 will be totally irrelevant to a movement like this, it doesn't matter because 5 sets of 3 looks really good on your program sheet. Now, I know you're going to have more than 10 exercises in total, or maybe 15, so having 5 sets in each exercise will take your volume to about 40 to 50 sets, which, well, don't worry about that. The more volume, the better. We've gone back to that time where the more volume, the better, and I really don't care about your volume as long as it looks good on the program design sheet. Where are we up to? Okay, we're making progress. So, John...
My knee kind of hurts.
Oh, okay, well, pain's good. So what you say, you've got 2 options here. You can just say tough it up or just ignore it. Man up or tough, suck it up or something like that. And it actually, if the client can hurt, they're going to come back and maybe get a little bit of manual tissue work or something like that. So you're going to create more demand for your service than someone else's. So I'm actually quite happy that you're hurting. How are we traveling, John?
Good, except for my shoulder and knee and hip.
Okay, well that's great, and I'm really happy because you'll feel so much better about yourself when you go home tonight and you're in pain because that will give you a feeling that I've worked you and you'll always remember me. Now, even though I said 3 sets of 10, what I'm going to get him to do, John, is this one's got a failure. Like, don't remember what I said. Just rep it out, and let's see how we go. So let's have a look at him. Now, I've given him some technical tips, and he's doing them perfectly. I said it's really important to be as still as you can. I've asked him to use a movement speed of about 10 seconds down, and he's not doing it, but that's irrelevant because it just sounded good when I said the movement speed. Okay, John, we're travelling well. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Now, I want you to apply a little bit more pressure because it's too easy for him. That's it. Fantastic. Now, so what I'm going to do is there's one more device I want to add. Now, everything I've done so far is really old world. And I want to take this exercise into the future. I really want to stamp myself in the innovative world. So there's an additional piece of equipment that I've got here that you're more than welcome to use. I'm not going to be specific as to how we might use it. I'm going to leave that part up to you. But I want to be known as the person that introduced this exercise device to the marketplace. So you've got it here. Now, John, I just want to rip it out now, please, and we're just going to talk about it. So, a bit more resistance. Like, he's not sweating, he's not vomiting, so I'm not happy. Now, what I hope I've really brought you. That's fantastic. Are you really hurt? Oh no, that's really good. I'm really proud of myself. I've taken him to failure, and that's critical. And I may have even injured him. So I hope I've really changed your life. And as I said, if you're lacking clients and you add the latest innovation, the latest trend, it could really make a difference. You might get an extra client for 2 weeks, and then you'll be looking for the latest trend. But that's okay. I'll be back with a new trend in about 2 weeks' time. Thank you.
Well, I got about 10 people total.